Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the last part of Losers Round 5. This is going to take us into top 16, but there's still a couple of eliminations that need to be made, and that is what we are going over today. So we've got 4 awesome matchups planned, and starting off, we have what has so far been a very dancing festival between a Villager and Mii Gunner. Now, Mii Gunner has put on quite the run here on Loser's side. Villager has just recently dropped down to this side of the tournament, but has otherwise been doing very successfully on the winner's side of the bracket. And it does appear that Mii Gunner is a little bit outmatched here. Now, Villager going for a forward smash off the top of that platform, a very unique smash attack in this game with the form of a bowling ball that drops straight down. Excellent recovery back to ledge there from Mii Gunner, but it's going to take a lot more than that to get rid of Villager. That Lloyd Rocket coming out, it is causing a lot of issues for Mii Gunner there. And unfortunately for Mii Gunner, he did not end up popping both the Villager's balloons with his up B, and instead ends up taking a tour to the right-hand blast zone, giving Villager the lead. And we have a charge shot happening within that shield, and now Villager has that charge shot in his pocket. It wasn't at full charge, and he did not end up landing it, but that's never an additional projectile you want to give to Villager. Mii Gunner landing an up smash there and equalizing the stock count, so he's done a relatively good job of keeping even with this combatant here. And Villager going for that tree there on the ledge. If he used an axe again, we could very easily see a very disgusting edgeguard take place. We've got a back throw coming out there from Villager, and it ends up jumping right over the Lloyd Rocket as Mii Gunner, that is, attempts to get around his opponent. Now, Mii Gunner is still causing a lot of pressure where he can, and I think he has the better long-range projectile tools. That doesn't mean that Villager can't use his own projectiles to his advantage here. Both combatants making it back to that left-hand ledge, and that Lloyd Rocket just gives Villager so much control of the actual stage here. And that secret missile coming out again from Mii Gunner. He does a really good job at causing mayhem with that. That Lloyd Rocket coming out again, it just goes the full length of that battlefield, and Mii Gunner doesn't really have an answer to it. Any strong strike from either combatant's going to claim a stock, and Mii Gunner just so happened to be unlucky and unfortunate enough to fall into the up smash there from Villager. It is deceivingly powerful, actually, is what it is. Down tilt there from Mii Gunner, it's not going to be enough to pick up a stock. Charge shot whiffs, and Mii Gunner trying to pick up that kill before he gets behind in percent too far. Goes for the up air, doesn't get anything from it. Finally connects on that back air. Only 18% is on that lead for Mii Gunner, or for Villager at this point. Gets a couple of connecting aerials there to make further damage. And Villager just does a really good job at keeping his space around this Mii Gunner here. Relatively slow-paced game based off of what we've seen from some of these other matches up until this point. Mii Gunner finally getting some of his own hits to connect here. And that up smash at ledge isn't going to do anything. Could have potentially read a ledge jump, but Villager doesn't tend to use that option a whole lot. He's been opting for rolling and occasional get-up attacks from what I recall seeing here. And we got a trade there on the side B's secret missile for Lloyd Rocket, and that secret missile from downtown is going to claim that first stock, and despite having dragged behind the majority of this matchup, Mii Gunner is going to pick up game 1, so we'll have to see if Villager can find a better answer on his counter pick for game 2.
3, 2,
Northern Cave is an interesting choice, to say the least, for Villager here. I do think that it proves to be a little bit more beneficial because it forces Sans to not be able to camp on as many of those platforms, and he may have been thinking directly about the issues that were caused at the end of that last game, but so far it does not appear that Villager is benefiting from this counter pick whatsoever. We've got the charge shot fully charged there for Mii Gunner, and a couple of forward airs into a charge shot off stage. That's going to be a very commanding lead in this game too. Now, we do have to keep in mind that Villager is the lower seed, despite having been on the winner's side of this tournament for a longer period of time. We've got Mii Gunner at seed number 28, whereas Villager is seed number 33. So, Mii Gunner does have a lot of battle prowess, despite having had to fight on the loser side of the bracket for some time now. That tree isn't in a position that's going to be beneficial for anyone, and I think Mii Gunner is just doing a better job at getting around these Lloyd Rockets in particular, as those have been some of the more annoying tools for him to deal with. And we've got that up smash taking place on that left platform, finally going to see some equalization there from Villager. But he's got about of a 30% deficit that he needs to make back up here. And with the chip damage he's doing with his forward airs and Lloyd Rockets, it's going to take a lot of those and some sequential hits, in order for that to take place. And a couple of aerials covering his retreat back to that right-hand ledge. Though Mii Gunner is still doing a really good job at keeping up that pressure from a distance. Gets around the grab there, and we've got that forward tilt coming out there from Mii Gunner. Got a secret missile taking care of that Lloyd Rocket. He has a full charge shot on lockdown. He doesn't end up landing it, unfortunately for him. And we've got that jump into a forward tilt, gets a second parry on that up smash, but still ends up getting hit by the tail end of it, unfortunately. And Mii Gunner barely making it back to that ledge. He's using up a lot of those ledge grabs, but ends up getting the connection, or the connecting hit on that up B to send Villager off to the right-hand side. Not enough to pick up a kill, but he is maintaining a lead at this point in time. Forward smash, very scary tool to have for Mii Gunner, and he baits out the pocket with the charge shot to follow it up with a secret missile connection. Very masterful use there, and Villager quickly fires back with a forward air to grab a stock equalization there. So it's still anybody's game, but Mii Gunner has been outplaying Villager very consistently. We've got the get up attack coming out there, and that secret missile is being a very reliable follow-up tool for Mii Gunner here. And really, Villager just seems like he has not quite figured things out as of yet. That up smash not going to finish things out here. We've got the neutral air clinking with the hitbacks of the up smash there. Not an interaction that you see very frequently taking place here. And Villager is just barely going to get around that down air coming out from Mii Gunner. And that secret missile destroying the Lloyd Rocket yet again. Rapid jab on the edge of that platform coming out. And Villager at 141% lands a down air to force a Game 3 situation. That was not looking like the interaction was going to go his way. But if you land a down air with a sweet spot spike 3 turnips down at that low of a level, you've got yourself a contending spot coming into Game 3 here. So let's see who comes out on top.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, we've got Smashville for the counter pick here, and I think that this is probably about the most neutral stage that you could go to for these two competitors in particular. I don't think that Final Destination is particularly a appealing choice for either combatant, because they do like to have some platforms to run around and take some benefit off of. And that forward smash from Mii Gunner there going to land a lot of damage there. And Villager ends up connecting on that pocketed charge shot to take an early lead here, which is definitely the type of stance he needs to be taking if he wants to end up winning this set. Got that ledge grab coming out there from the Mii Gunner, and the back throw not going to be enough to pick up a kill. And he just decides to charge his charge shot at the ledge, and since he got hit on it, he did have the charge interrupted for it. And he's got to find an answer before he gets too far behind. That down tilt doesn't kill until a high percent, but it was just enough in that interaction there. Mii Gunner rolling around the many different assaults that we see coming out from Villager. Villager again going for that down air off stage, which has caused a lot of problems for Sans and would not be great if he got caught up in it again. Secret Missile destroying the Lloyd Rocket. He's been using that tool quite frequently here. We've got a charge shot coming out, and Sans, as he stands up out of the charge shot of his own, ends up getting clipped by the bottom end of it. Very interesting interaction there. We have Sans opting still to go fairly low, and I don't think that's the play or the optimal play against Villager here, because Villager is able to recover from basically anywhere, and Sans finds himself on the sour end of that yet again, too far off on the right-hand side, but immediately answers back off the restock with an up smash, and this is still anyone's set to continue on to the next round, or the top 16 interaction of the loser side of the bracket here. And we've got that dash coming through. Charge shot primed and ready to go. Sans could very quickly end this interaction against Villager, and he does. With letting that charge shot go, Villager had done very well being able to pocket those over the course of the match, but the one you miss is the one that costs you the stock and the game and the set. So Villager has been eliminated from this tournament, and we now need to progress into our next matchup to see who Mii Gunner will have to face off against. And I have a pretty good feeling of which of these two combatants it's going to be, but it is anyone's guess at this point. Now, this isn't a matchup that on paper you ever would have thought would have happened. Bowser Jr. is our number 73 seed in this tournament. He is the lowest seeded combatant still in the competition, and that is mind-boggling to me. However, he seems to have been holding his own, as he only recently came down to the loser's side of the tournament. So sometimes you just have those bracket busters that catch you by complete surprise. And Banjo and Kazooie, they've been on a very impressive loser's side run up until this point, despite being the number 20 seed in this bracket. And if I look back through while these two continue to slug things out, I think Banjo and Kazooie, they lost round one, so they have been running from round one of loser's side. That Wonder Wing coming out, it's not enough to claim that stock off of Bowser Jr., but that back air into the grenade off stage, that's quite the impressive combo there between these two combatants. Rapid Jab not going to pick up that kill, but the down smash will, and despite the low seeding, Bowser Jr. again in an advantageous position, gets the forward tilt to interrupt the forward smash coming out from Banjo and Kazooie there. And that Wonder Wing over to the side of Yoshi's Story is going to take that stock. But Banjo and Kazooie now down 63%. Not a position that you want to find yourself in as they get hit by the Mecha Koopa explosive there. And that back air coming out, Bowser Jr. with the commanding lead, 2 stocks to 1 right now. Up tilt gets parried as Banjo and Kazooie seek desperately to gain any additional percent. We've got a neutral air into down smash coming out from Banjo and Kazooie there, but they get grabbed and down thrown. And Bowser Jr. really doing a good job at staying ahead. And this is an upset that I don't know that I am ready to accept as being the reality. But if Bowser Jr. continues this onslaught of attacks with that clown card that has been a favorite killing option of his over the course of this tournament, then I just don't know. Back air coming out from Banjo and Kazooie. Forward air in retaliation from Bowser Jr. He gets caught in the Mecha Koopa. Mecha Koopa sitting there on the ledge again. He drops it on the platform, doesn't get much damage out of it, but up at 125%, there is a lot of things that could end up causing this to be the end for Banjo and Kazooie in this first game. And that clown cart, again, a very interesting punishing move that Bowser Jr. has been using over the course of this tournament as a whole. All the way back from pools, he's been favoring that as a killing option. And Bowser Jr. finally making it back down there to stage, gets caught up in the down tilt grenade explosion combination there. And Bowser Jr. just barely hanging on at 150%, gets the down air on that right-hand platform. And is that back throw going to be enough? I don't think it is. The cannonball coming out twice, neither one of them connect. Both combatants up at 150% or more. Bowser Jr. still with the stock lead. And that up air from Bowser Jr. is going to be enough to finish things off. Banjo and Kazooie dropping an unprecedented Game 1 against Bowser Jr., and they will need to depend heavily on a counter pick to gain an advantage moving on in this set. Banjo and Kazooie counterpicking over here to PS2. I don't think that that's the worst move that they could have made. Also not entirely sure as to why they would have picked this stage. I think that they would have had a lot more benefit from Final Destination, in my personal opinion, and that seems to be holding fairly well with that opinion, as they are now down by about 60%. And Bowser Jr. just seems to have this matchup completely figured out, which is never something you want to see against your opponents. And we got that grab to the up throw into a down air, so that retaliates some damage back, I suppose. Both combatants getting hit by Banjo and Kazooie's grenade detonation there as they were holding on to it. Mecha Koopa there on that platform. We get the parry coming out from Bowser Jr. They've now got to find their way back from that left-hand side. And they grab onto the ledge to take advantage of that invulnerability or that invincibility as Banjo and Kazooie go for a forward smash. Mecha Koopa not going to do anything there. Bowser Jr. using that clown car detonation a lot, and they end up going down a stock here. So Banjo and Kazooie may be figuring out this matchup a little bit more. They're up at 162%. Bowser Jr. needs to find a killing option here against them, and that forward throw at the right-hand ledge is going to be able to clean that up, and there's not a whole lot of percent that they have to make back. Bowser Jr. a little bit too quick on the draw with that forward smash, otherwise it probably was one of the better options that they had, but Banjo and Kazooie still had a little bit of invincibility from the restock that they had to watch out for. Now, Banjo and Kazooie really dancing around their opponent's onslaughts much better than they did in the first game here. So, at least they are proving that there was some logic to this counter pick. Bowser Jr. finding himself all the way off stage with that clown car side B. And driving headlong into that grenade. Probably not the best option that he could have gone for. We've got Banjo and Kazooie fishing for a kill. That forward throw, or that forward smash, not going to do it. The back throw, not quite going to be enough. And wow, excellent rush in down tilt from Banjo and Kazooie to scoop up a kill there at the ledge as Bowser Jr. attempts to retreat back to the stage. And Banjo and Kazooie very well may turn this around if they continue to keep up this momentum. But they did have some problems in the first match, so hopefully they do not relapse into any of those earlier habits that they were exhibiting in this match. Now we've got another forward throw coming out from Bowser Jr. there. Not enough to pick up that kill, unfortunately, for them. They use that clown car to go off stage yet again. Interesting choices all around. Bowser Jr. getting hit with that grenade yet again. That's been a very effective tool for Banjo and Kazooie in picking up additional damage. And the nice parry coming out there from the grenade explosion there. And that Mecha Koopa has a mind of its own, probably a little bit less of an issue than the grenade tends to be from Banjo and Kazooie. And Bowser Jr. should have tossed that grenade as it was about to explode, because it gives you a very nice visual indication as opposed to the grenades from Snake. Back air coming out there from Banjo and Kazooie, and the forward air from Bowser Jr. not quite going to pick up the kill. That cannonball not going to catch them off guard, and the Wonder Wing coming out is going to give Banjo and Kazooie the win in this second game. A very nice turnaround from what we saw in game 1. So now it's Bowser Jr.'s turn to try and rally back and see if he can continue his impressive tournament run, or if he will lose to the loser side run that we've seen from Banjo and Kazooie so far.
3, 2, 1.
Alright. So we've got Kalos Pokemon League as the counter pick here. Probably a better pick for Banjo and Kazooie, if I'm being completely honest, because they did seem to do quite a bit better with those platforms. Maybe having them offset will be a little bit of a more desirable effect for Bowser Jr. I mean, both of these combatants do have recoveries that take them fairly high, and so we very well may see a lot of use of both of those platforms from both combatants as they continue to onslaught onto each other. And Banjo and Kazooie, again, seem to be having some troubles early match here. That forward throw not going to be enough at this percent, though Banjo and Kazooie could do well with showing more of the prowess that they did in match 2 against Bowser Jr. here. And nice shield coming out there, and the Wonder Wing from center stage is going to pick up that kill. So despite being at a higher percent, and I'm sure that there was a certain amount of rage that helped out with that. Forward smash there from Bowser Jr. He hasn't landed one of those just yet in this set, but it's never too late to stop trying, I suppose. Nice neutral air to down. I think that was a down smash again. He's been using that move fairly consistently up until this point. Rapid jab coming out from Banjo and Kazooie. Bowser Jr. again needing to find a killing option at this 173% Banjo Kazooie, and the more hits that they get in at max rage, the worse off you're going to be. Back throw coming out from Banjo and Kazooie there, causing some problems for Bowser Jr. One final Wonder Wing on this first stock. We haven't seen Banjo and Kazooie get that low, and they pick up another kill on that left-hand platform with a forward smash, and things not looking great. Finally going to pick up a kill with that back throw off of the restock. But they got a whole stock to try and claw back, and the down air to dash attack is actually going to build up a decent amount of that damage. Forward, or that down throw coming out from Banjo and Kazooie on that platform, really going to help them gain some countering momentum against Bowser Jr. here, and as they seek to close the remainder of this set out. Another rapid jab coming out from Banjo and Kazooie. That builds up a surprising amount of damage. Wonder Wing coming out again. It connects at about center stage. Bowser Jr. opting for the up air through that ledge grab, which does force Banjo and Kazooie off of that ledge pressure. We got the Gentleman Jab coming through. Not going to pick up a kill just there. And lots of smash attacks coming out from Banjo and Kazooie. And the forward air into delayed detonation of the grenade is going to end Bowser Jr.'s tournament run. It's been a long time coming to see the lowest, or one of the lowest seeded members of this tournament exit, but Banjo and Kazooie have been doing very well on this loser's side of the bracket, and I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see that into the loser's quarters round, which are still a couple of weeks away from us. But we have 2 more matches to get to today, so let's go ahead and jump over to the next of those, where we have a top 10 matchup, again, on the loser's side of this bracket. Okay, so for our next match, starting off here at Town and Country, we have our number 4 seed Olimar up against our number 10 seed Mii Swordfighter. Now, Mii Swordfighter's been doing pretty well on this loser side of the bracket. Olimar, again, taking a fall down here very, very recently as they lost last round, if I go back through and double check where they came from. They had ended up losing to... Wow, I honestly don't remember. It was Byleth. That was who they fell to. And Byleth is in our top side of this tournament in the top 8 side of that matchup, which we'll be getting to in just a few short weeks. But Olimar seems to be doing a decent job keeping even with Mii Swordfighter. That neutral air, though, is causing a lot of troubles for him. We've got that neutral air coming out from Olimar now, and 2 red Pikmin and a purple Pikmin there. The back air from Mii Swordfighter going to get that stage spike and really kind of force Olimar to maybe change up his strategy with how he's approaching his opponent here. He uses that side B to kind of run away from his opponent there. Not the world's greatest option, but that up B punish, not bad whatsoever. We've got that neutral air coming out to clean the purple Pikmin off of him. And we've got Olimar back with his default set here in the middle. Up air through that platform going to cause some problems for Olimar. Neutral air going to send him over to the right. He is going to be able to recover, especially as he throws 2 Pikmin out ahead of him in order to make it back. We've got a purple Pikmin on lockdown. That could be the the Pikmin that he needed to pick up that stock, and he does land the forward air with it, but from that right-hand side of the stage, sending him all the way over to the left, it's still not going to be enough to pick up a kill. And nice work by Olimar being able to get that shield up before the downward spiral of that upbeat comes from Mii Swordfighter, but he does still claim that second stock with an up smash, and Olimar finally finding an answer with an up air, a very high percent for Mii Swordfighter. Olimar getting rid of that purple Pikmin. I don't know if that was his desired effect, and I'm guessing it may have been because that can just kind of tend to weigh him down, especially at lower percents. You don't want to get caught up in that if you can avoid it. And rising up neutral air coming out from Olimar there. And a nice counter there from Mii Swordfighter to get rid of both of the blue Pikmin that were active. Purple Pikmin coming out again from a far distance. We've got a grab to a down throw from Olimar. Not really doing what he needs it to. Up air coming out. And looks like he was trying to fish for that neutral air again. But it doesn't end up getting anything from it. And we have the blue Pikmin again racking up some damage onto Mii Swordfighter, and just about connected with Olimar as he grabbed back to the ledge there. 2 purple Pikmin and a white Pikmin as one of them gets thrown off into the abyss, and that up air finally going to claim that stock, and Mii Swordfighter doing a really good job at keeping ahead in this matchup. Olimar just needs to get in a better headspace after dropping that game to Byleth, and he just might be checked out based off of what we saw here. But he does have a counter pick coming up, so let's see what they have, or what they are able to scrounge up before passing any final verdicts.
3, 2, 1, go!
So Hollow Bastion is not the world's worst counter pick, I suppose, and it gives you a definite change of venue for sure. Lots of chip damage coming out off the start of this fight, with many different Pikmin attached to Mii Swordfighter there, which is good for Olimar and racking up that damage to try and stay ahead in percent. Goes for the forward smash and attacks into the shield there, so doesn't really get anything out of that. And more of these Pikmin falling victim to the neutral air coming out from Mii Swordfighter. And if you have a Pikmin on you, apparently that completely invalidates the side B for Mii Swordfighter. And I don't know what he got hit with there, but it was enough to claim that stock. And he does get an up smash off of the restock there. So, not terrible job of trying to chase down the advantage here. We've got a grab to a back throw coming out, and those Pikmin just have an uncanny way of latching themselves onto your opponents. And both combatants making it back to that left-hand ledge there. Olimar gets back thrown, and he does manage to get back to the stage after siphoning off 2 of his Pikmin over to the main stage there. That blue Pikmin, there's a nice degree of accuracy that Olimar's had with those blue Pikmin in particular in getting them to connect on his opponent from pretty far distances, really. Got a back air coming out there from the red Pikmin. And Mii Swordfighter needs to find a killing option against this Olimar. The down air is not going to do it. The back throw finally going to pick up that kill. And Olimar using that time to refresh his Pikmin, as it's kind of nice that the restock timer does give him enough certainty and safety in order to do that. However, Mii Swordfighter has really got to claw his way back into this, and with the couple of rushdown attacks he's going for, he's trying to do just that. We're going to see a lot of onslaughts of Pikmin coming out here as he gets, I thought, all 3 of those attached onto him for one brief moment in time. But now you have Max Rage Mii Swordfighter, and that can be scary. So Olimar doing the correct thing in dispatching of him relatively quickly as he's up on that left-hand side of the stage, I should say. Nice up smash from that purple Pikmin coming out. That deals a lot of damage, and you don't want to get caught up in that if you can avoid it. We've got a side B coming through from Mii Swordfighter that does end up dealing some additional damage. And again, with that blue Pikmin doing an excellent job of somehow getting that to latch onto his opponent. The yellow Pikmin back air coming out there after Mii Swordfighter claims the stock with a, I believe it was a back air at ledge off that right-hand side. And Olimar off the side of that stage. Only had that white Pikmin there with him for a brief moment in time. We've got a back throw coming out, and that purple Pikmin finally going to end this second match in this set. And we will be going to a game 3, but Olimar really needs to do a better job at ending these interactions quickly if he wants to make sure that he can continue on his way.
3, 2, 1, go!
Lilac Cruise. Probably not my first choice for a stage for counterpicking to, especially for the last game of a set. But Mii Swordfighter must have some sort of logic behind that. And maybe it's with having some of these slanted platforms, he can avoid getting hit with all of those Pikmin. And he manages to catch Olimar off stage with the downward slash of that up B off stage. And he just decided, hey, we're going to even things out and start over on our second stock for both of us. Down smash coming out there at the ledge. Really striking move for Mii Swordfighter to get out there. Absolutely phenomenal timing on that, and knowledge knowing that he can hit below that ledge as well. Especially with these curved ledges, because they can be harder to hit underneath if you're not careful. We've got that back throw coming out from Mii Swordfighter. He's doing a much better job, much more akin to what we saw in match 1, of staying ahead. Dash attack coming out. That is going to send Olimar off to the side. He does attempt to go for a neutral air to kind of stage spike him there, but he does not get anything from it, unfortunately. And that Fire Pikmin is going to cause some more problems for Mii Swordfighter, though he does use that counter to get rid of him. And that Purple Pikmin up smash going to put Olimar back on top. Forward air from Mii Swordfighter not quite going to do it, but he needs to find an option here before he falls too far behind in percent. The late delayed hit of that neutral air not going to be enough. And Olimar up at max rage, a very scary place for him to be. And Mii Swordfighter finally claiming that last stock, or that second stock, I should say, with a forward air. But he is down really bad in that percent, 86%, where he's got a lot of room that he has to make up against Olimar here to continue his tournament run. Purple Pikmin landing from a ways away, and that Purple Pikmin has been dispatched with the aerial attack there from Mii Swordfighter. So, not as clear of a killing option for Olimar anymore without that Pikmin available to him. And we've got an up smash hitting through that platform. Down air coming down through that right-hand platform there. And Olimar really trying to seal the deal on this. The next Pikmin in his rotation is going to be that purple one, which would help him close things out much quicker if he is able to. And we do see that yellow Pikmin dealing additional damage to Mii Swordfighter, and we have the missed up smash, which could have been a match ender. Neutral air coming out again, and a forward throw that might have Mii Swordfighter a little too far away. He does manage to make it back, and that purple Pikmin is now on stage, so it could very well be the end of either combatant's run. Anyone landing a strong connecting hit will take it, and like I anticipated, we have that purple Pikmin landing that final strike on Mii Swordfighter to give Olimar the win. Mii Swordfighter had a great run, but he's now on the outside of this tournament, and I believe it's only Mii Gunner that is active from the Miis in this tournament at this point in time, because none of them are on the winner's side of the tournament. And just glancing back through, I do believe that Mii Fighter exited much, much earlier in this tournament. But great job to Olimar. We'll be seeing him shortly in the top 16 portion of this tournament. And, well, it's time for the last match of the day, which should be a high-octane bout. So let's jump into that. Two very explosive combatants here, and we have Final Destination making its first appearance of the day as a starting stage between these two. And Incineroar needs to start landing some hits on Lucas, which can be a little bit difficult as he is fairly floaty. We've got a nice little interaction there from Incineroar to start getting some damage, but Lucas continuing a lot of onslaught here against his opponent. And Incineroar getting that rope throw on the upward push there, because I don't think that he wanted to attempt going for the Alolan Whip clothesline at that low of a percent. I just don't think that it offered him as many opportunities for a follow-up. Nice neutral air coming out there from Incineroar as he's charged up with that revenge energy. And a nice neutral air coming out again from Incineroar. And I feel like the Alolan Whip would have been the better option there with the clothesline, but he did not opt for it, unfortunately for him there. Incineroar making it back to that ledge and goes for the neutral air to usher Lucas away from it, discouraging any retaliating moves there. And we are going to see that clothesline finally connecting there, giving Incineroar the lead in this set. Incineroar is a character that you never want to leave up at these high percents for a very long amount of time. Because if he gets revenge boosted on this for any amount of time, he can be very scary. However, we have the PK Thunder coming out from Lucas to carry Incineroar off into that left-hand blast zone. And so I think he was very much of the opinion that he needed to go as quickly as possible. Nice series of attacks there from Incineroar, and with that suplex, Lucas is up at 100%. That clothesline, again there at that ledge, we have a 0 to death off of the restock from Incineroar, and not something that you want to be stuck on the receiving end of if you are Lucas. Lucas baits out that counter into a grab, and Incineroar, again, fishing quite a lot for these revenges because he knows how powerful they are, especially with as strong as a lot of these hits from Lucas can hit. Nice up smash off of the overextension from Lucas there, and we have the forward tilt angled up to catch Lucas there, and he gets caught by that Alolan Whip, and we do see 3 stocks go to the clothesline. It's a very powerful move, so you can't count it against him, and Lucas absolutely out of his league in that match against Incineroar, so we will need to be holistically dependent on a counter pick if he wants to force a Game 3 situation. Small battlefield, probably a bit of a better choice for Lucas here, if we're being completely candid. Nice connecting hit there on the forward air from Lucas, though. But he is still getting rushed down by Incineroar. Incineroar just a very scary combatant if you get hit by too many of his combos and attacks on top of each other. Lucas opting for that snake tether back to ledge, and I think that's one of his better options there. But Incineroar has Lucas figured out. He gets him again on that ledge with the clothesline off of his Alolan Whip, and it does very well at closing out those stocks, so you really can't focus for him, or fault him for it, I should say. And Lucas still fishing for those up smashes. The problem with it is it's not a multi-hit if you're able to shield it. So Incineroar really doing a great job of getting ahead of those. And he gets hit as he's on that ledge, but it looked like a sour spot because it did not do enough to pick up a kill, especially with Incineroar being up at 150% now with a couple of follow-up jabs that he's had. Nice neutral air there from Lucas, but it's not going to be the killing option he needs right now. And up throw, finally going to equalize that stock, but he is down 70% and climbing as Incineroar gets that down air on stage from the restock. And an up tilt to punish the whiffed up smash from Lucas. Incineroar just really going to continue to cause problems for his opponent here. Nice spot dodge around the forward smash coming out there from Lucas. And he does end up landing one of those up smashes finally. Gets a parry on the second one. Drops down and Lucas parries the attacking neutral air there from Incineroar. Up air from Incineroar doing a good job of keeping Lucas away from the lower portions of this stage. And a dash attack knee to the face is going to be enough to claim that second stock for Lucas here. Lucas going for the high recovery and ends up getting caught with the revenge on that down smash as he went for it. And Incineroar still has his revenge active. He finally gets rid of it with a down air. Gets a bit of a sour spot on it, but it still puts Lucas up at a very high percent. That down smash was a very scary move to have had revenged. Lucas up at 56%. He has managed to equalize the stocks here. Nice little jab connection there from Incineroar. He gets that whip a little bit too close to center stage to pick up a kill, but if he does land it again, that's going to be curtains. We have that dash attack knee again coming in, causing some problems for Lucas. Down tilt misses the combination into the back air. and we have a lot of rolling and zipping around. Incineroar does not need that revenge power up there. First time we see him going for that neutral B, though. And that up smash is going to chase the revenge out of Incineroar there. But the suplex, just barely not going to be enough to pick up that kill. Lucas got to be very careful with how he retreats back down to stage. Goes for the neutral air into the jab. And Incineroar getting too anxious, running in just a hair too early on that up smash. And Lucas has forced a Game 3 situation, which is not something that I anticipated based off of how that first interaction went and how the majority of this match ended up. But that is going to give us a third and final match, or a set game for the day. And so we'll see who claims the victory and progresses on the loser's side tournament. Incineroar going to Lilat Cruz. This could go really bad for him if he's not careful. But he starts things off with a bang, landing that Alolan Whip that he went for at the end of last match. And so far, that seems to have been about the only thing that has been happening on stage as they continue to dance around each other a little bit. Finally, a couple of additional exchanging hits coming through, and Incineroar landing a second one of those. If he gets another one, we could be in trouble, or at least if you're Lucas, you could be in a lot of trouble. Nice connecting hits coming in from Lucas there to drive up a bit more percent, but he's got to do better than that if he wants to really get back into the swing of this match. Incineroar wisely staying just far enough away from that up smash to not get hit, and then rushes in and gets that final punish with a forward tilt. And Lucas again fishing for that up smash, and Incineroar ends up getting the revenge off of it this time around, and then retaliates with a forward air. Probably not the best use of that revenge he could have got, but it's additional damage anywhere you can get it at this point, so he really shouldn't be complaining. Nice Alolan Whip happening again there. It was turned around the wrong direction, or it could have picked up a kill pretty early against this Lucas here. And he keeps getting hit by the PK Fire here, which builds up percent that Incineroar needs to try to avoid if he wants to continue to progress. Nice trade there between the PK Fire and the forward air. And Lucas ends up sending Incineroar far off to that right-hand side with his forward smash, but he gets punished off of that down smash at ledge with a get-up attack. And up smash at ledge gives Incineroar a 2-stock lead. And absolutely devastating move right here as he's up at 160%. You do not want to get caught by these maximum rage moves that Incineroar is throwing out here. And that down air spike is the explosive finisher that we were looking for. Incineroar with a 3-stock victory here on the loser's side of this tournament. Absolutely jaw-dropping performance. Well, we are going to be back on our loser side of the tournament next week as we get into the top 16 combatants in this tournament. So I hope that you are excited for that, because we are drawing towards the end where the rule set shifts to best of 5, and that is always an exciting time to be around. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure that you leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe for the daily variety content, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care and have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.